Hey everybody, I want to give you a brief little walking tour of Liberty Square, one of my favorite areas. There's a lot of Disney details that you may have noticed, maybe you haven't, maybe you've wondered why is it this way. So I want to walk you around, and as we do, I'm going to show you a couple things that maybe people have wondered or haven't even noticed, but are there. Obviously, there's a lot more details than we're able to be going over, but let me switch this around for you. Let me switch the camera around. So you'll notice one of the things is that on a lot of the windows in Liberty Square, they have not necessarily sideways, but crooked shutters. And one thing in the details of Disney, you think, well, why in the world would they do that? Everything's perfect at Disney, right? So that can't be by mistake. They would have fixed these by now. Now, some of them are kind of straight, but some of them are, a lot of them actually, are fairly crooked as we walk through. There's a reason for that, because historically, in this time period that we're talking about, here in Liberty Square, during wars, they couldn't use metal to hold up the shutters. So they would tie cowhide leather straps to hold back the shutters, and over time, that cowhide would stretch. And as it stretched, the shutters would historically actually be a little bit crooked. So in the Disney details, the Imagineers could have overlooked that, and probably nobody would have thought much about it. But they actually gave thought to the fact that, hey, wait, no, historically speaking, crooked shutters are the way to go in the 1700s. So as we walk through Liberty Square, there's other aspects too. You'll notice something kind of different from all the other lands. This walking path I'm on now, we see the brown is just kind of weaving in and out all throughout. If we follow it, it doesn't necessarily go anywhere in particular. It goes off this way and that. It goes over here to one of the homes. Let's follow it kind of underneath here and go over somewhat out of the way towards one of the homes in Liberty Square. And you'll see that, again, it's kind of out of the ordinary. It's just weaving its way past all these homes. The reason for this, again, is historical. Now, let me tell you this. First of all, there are no bathrooms in Liberty Square itself. There's bathrooms over in the other portions, other lands right around here, in Fantasyland, that's what I was thinking of, and the other lands around it, but there are no bathrooms here in Liberty Square because historically there is no running water, obviously, during this time in American history. So with no running water, you have no indoor plumbing, therefore there is no indoor plumbing specifically here in this land in Liberty Square. Now, that being said, there's another interesting thing, and it relates to the weaving random pattern we see through here. In the middle of the night, historically, if you had to go to the bathroom, you used a pot, literally, a chamber pot in this time, under your bed. So, in the morning, people you couldn't flush it down the toilet, you'd have to pour the contents of that chamber pot out the window. So what you're actually seeing, you probably never think you would hear this at Disney, but what you're actually seeing here, the brown floor, is actually just that. It's represent the human waste that historically, yes, would actually make its way down from the homes through, kind of weaving through the streets. And, obviously that's kind of disgusting, but also it's just the way of life back then. So historically, to even think that they put in this little detail is another thing that you might overlook or not realize. Also over here, we have the Liberty Bell. I'm gonna go ahead and try to go around. There's some people now. We have the Liberty Bell over here, and as you could spend the time reading here, this was actually made from the same mold in Philadelphia that the actual Liberty Bell was made from. So this is the one and only replica in the entire world of the actual Liberty Bell, made from the same replica made from the exact same mold. So if you don't get the chance to go to Philadelphia, obviously you can see those one-of-a-kind things right here in the Magic Kingdom. Also, something you may not know around here is there are 13 lanterns up here in what is known as the Liberty Tree. 13 lanterns representing the original 13 colonies of America. And, well, you may know that some things, like at Animal Kingdom, the tree is not a real tree. It is completely fake. This tree is 130 years old. It is actually Florida grown, I should say. It came from Florida, but it didn't grow in this location. It was a huge tree, had to be transported here by a series of semi trucks driving it across the property. They had to drill a few holes in really smart places so they didn't kill it, to actually get it, roots and all, to this location when they were building the Magic Kingdom, to put it in this place. And this was kind of a vision that Walt had originally for Disneyland, that there would be a living tree that was almost as old as America itself, that would actually be a part of the actual parks. So this is, again, one of those details that sometimes it's just so easy to run down the street to go to Haunted Mansion, or maybe into the Hall of Presidents, or wherever you're headed, Liberty Tree Tavern over there. But to just think and stop and look at some of these things, it's certainly worth the time. And that, just a few of those little examples are the reasons that I love Liberty Square so much.